Time now for a very special edition of our 2016 Presidential Power Index, where we focus today only on Iowa. Chris Stirewalt, Fox News digital politics editor and the author of Fox News First. He joins me now live from the Hawkeye State. Okay, so we're just going to focus on the Presidential Power Index in that state today. So let's take a look at the Republican side first, where you have, I think this is the first time ever, Donald Trump in the #1 spot, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, and then Ben Carson.
You got to give it to Trump on this as we look into Iowa. Yes, it is uncertain that there will be this surge of new and first-time voters, Democrats, left-leaning independents, and others who will come into caucus for the Republicans. But as you saw in the last round of polling, there's been such a surge for him. And probably more importantly, Ted Cruz has really slipped. I was on the fence about maybe even making Marco Rubio #2 in the power index here over Ted Cruz. The delta between those two candidates has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. Rubio has forward progress. Cruz has downward progress. So look, I'm glad that I'll be in New Hampshire next week, because by then I won't have to take responsibility for this if I'm wrong. But I had to call it this morning, and I had to go 1, 2, 3, Trump, Cruz, Rubio. But it's wild out here.
Okay, I like that. You know, it's really interesting because in the last 4 days, apparently, 1,500 Iowans have registered. Now, that doesn't sound like a huge number, but I guess that, does it mean anything to you?
No, that's usual. We haven't seen the kind of increase in registration that you saw with Barack Obama's 2008 performance with Democrats, where they almost doubled the turnout and you saw a surge in registrations. But Iowa does have same-day voter registration, so you cannot discount. Basically, it's this. If 2 out of 10 caucus goers are new caucus goers on the Republican side, Donald Trump and Ted Cruz ought to be tied, and the three of them ought to be pretty well knotted. If it's 4 out of 10, if that's what Donald Trump would hope, Trump would trump all the trumping of the Trumps. He would win widely over Cruz and Rubio. So we just got to see how many of these new folks really show up. It's an open question.
I think that was Trump cubed. Okay, let's go to the Dems now. I don't know what you call it when it's to the 4th power, but anyway, Bernie Sanders on top, Hillary Clinton, Martin O'Malley, as I'm remembering my 7th grade math. So okay, now you're going out on a little bit of a limb here, but I know why you're doing it.
It's a limb. I'm on the limb.
We've seen a huge surge for Sanders over the last few days.
Well, and here's the other thing. If he can make it close, normally when politicians say, well, it was close, it was whatever. If Bernie Sanders is even close in Iowa, it shouldn't be close. It shouldn't even be anywhere near here. But if Bernie Sanders, if the polling is right, he's got momentum at the end. He's got a good Quinnipiac poll today. He's got all this stuff. Look, if Bernie Sanders has this within a few points, he's going to go to New Hampshire and have a credible argument to make that he's going to beat her there soundly and stay in this thing. So you got to feel the burn. You got to feel a little mojo in Iowa today, even as he tries to manage expectations.
All right, how many more terms can you come up with? Let's go look ahead for a moment. John Kasich's already in the next primary state. He just blew off Iowa. He's in the Granite State. In just a few hours, Jeb Bush and Chris Christie, they're going to join him there, but both have already made their presence known on the airwaves. Listen to this.
I hope that Christie and Bush will take all their negative crap off the air and get their super PACs to talk about what they're for.
So New Hampshire has a better track record than Iowa when it comes to picking the eventual GOP nominee. Since 1976, 5 winners of the Granite State's primary went on to get the Republican nomination, with 2, Reagan and George H.W. Bush, going on to win the White House. But both states play a key role in the GOP race for the White House, because in the last 40 years, no Republican has ever become the nominee without either winning Iowa or New Hampshire. Are you still with me on this, Chris?
I'm tracking you. I've followed the bouncing ball. But look, here's the thing. A candidate like Kasich is running for president of New Hampshire, and that means you've got to just be all in on New Hampshire. You just got to love on their neck. You got to do what John McCain did in his 2000 loss to George W. Bush. He just camped out all about New Hampshire. But Kasich is messing up. His super PAC, the reason he's talking about super PACs, his super PAC had an ad out that implied an endorsement from Senator Kelly Ayotte, and she said, whoa, 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 Jack, and backed him right off that. And there are also people complaining about robocalls and all kind of stuff. I don't think Kasich's closing very well in New Hampshire.
Very interesting inside information from Stirewalt today. All right, have fun in Iowa, and we'll see how your predictions do when we see you next week.